All right, this is Boxing with the Truth, and I am the Truth. It's February 25th, 2015, and we are here with heavyweight prospect Dominic "Trouble" Breazeale. How you doing today?
Good, John. How you doing yourself? I'm
doing pretty good. I'm pretty excited to do this interview with you. Just for the boxing fans out there that aren't familiar with you or are getting familiar with you, everybody looks at your last name and nobody seems to pronounce it right. So just so everybody knows, so before he ends up becoming the heavyweight champion of the world, you know how to pronounce this man's name. It is pronounced like the country Brazil.
Yes, sir. Just like Brazil. Spelled completely different, but pronounced just like Brazil. One of my goals is to make the last name Brazil a household name. So, heavyweight championship, here I come.
All right, and actually right now, according to BoxRec, I don't know if you follow the rankings or not, but according to BoxRec, in the U.S., you're number 18, and world, you're 48.
Correct, yes. Last time I checked it, it was 18 and 48, correct.
Okay, and your pro record right now is actually 13-0 with 12 knockouts.
Yes, sir. 13-0, 12 knockouts, man. Only one victim got away. One guy went the distance.
And actually, you're signed with Al Haymon now, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I just want to back up a little bit and give some people a little bit of history on how you came to the heavyweight division and how you actually became a boxer, because some fans actually might remember you as a former quarterback for the University of Northern Colorado, correct?
Yes, sir. I played 07-08 season there at University of Northern Colorado.
And so in case people are wondering why they never ended up seeing you in the NFL, I know you were waiting for the pro day call where everybody's waiting, hoping that they're going to get called to go to the draft. But you actually did receive a phone call, but it wasn't to go to a pro day. I mean, it wasn't to go to the draft. It actually was to go to the All-American Heavyweight program, right, for boxing?
Yeah. The suspense of waiting for the NFL draft to go ahead and play itself out. Weeks before, prior, I got a phone call from a gentleman that ran a recruiting program for All-American Heavyweights, which was an all heavyweight boxing program in Carson, California. At the time, I was still in college in Greeley, Colorado, at the University of Colorado, and he asked me if I wanted to try out boxing, and I was completely shocked because I'd never stepped foot in the boxing ring before, never stepped foot in the boxing gym before. And, at the time I was like, no, there's no way, man. I'm a quarterback. This is what I do. I throw the football around, I call shots on the football field, and that's what I'm going to stick to, Of course, things didn't pan out with the NFL, and I bounced around from camp to camp and wasn't able to stick a team. So I went ahead and called that recruiter back. In hopes that I'd be able to stay in shape, doing boxing. Boxing is an intense sport, but I still wanted to do football at the time. And the summer of 2008, when I was still pursuing football, I dabbled around in boxing and joined the camp, the All-American Heavyweights in Carson, California. And one thing led to another. I learned the fundamentals. I won some tournaments. I won some amateur rankings. Within 2.5 years, I won my spot to become an Olympian, and I was on my road to London in 2012.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that real quick. I just wanted to touch on that. When you were an amateur, you were actually #1 superweight heavyweight in the U.S., correct?
Yes, sir. 2012, 11 year, I won the U.S. Nationals. Also, different sporadic wins. I had, California State Golden Glove, regional USA wins. I won the Americas Games in Brazil prior to going to the Olympics for 2012.
Okay, like you just touched on, you were actually in the 2012 Olympics in London, right?
Yes, sir. I was a super heavyweight U.S. Olympian for the 2012 Olympic team.
Okay, but now in some respects, you're a little different than some heavyweights that kind of, either come from the streets or they get into amateur boxing and they go into boxing because they just feel they don't have another outlet, and, they end up becoming popular in the sport. You actually have a college degree in criminal justice, and are you still paralegal right now?
No, I no longer do paralegal work. I just recently cut that out at the start of this year just to take on boxing full-time 100%. But I did do paralegal work for a good year and some months there. Went to school for criminal justice and minored in psychology. So, was dabble around in the field and working the average 8 to 5 type of a life and doing boxing also on top of that. So yeah, like you said, I am a little bit different than most boxers, most heavyweights. I've got my bachelor's degree, a little bit of pursuance of my master's degree, and I have worked the normal 8 to 5 type of a job and trained on top of it. And it's like I said, boxing came along real late. It started at 23. I'm currently 29, and so far it's been pretty successful.
Well, I just actually recently did an interview with a former heavyweight, and he's retired now, but you kind of remind me of him a little bit because of your background and stuff, and where you didn't really need to take up the sport. Kelvin Brock, are you familiar with him?
I've heard the name and I've heard a little bit of the story. Not as familiar as I would like to be about it, but yeah, I definitely know we've got a little bit of the same background.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a college education. He was working for Bank America, a lot of different things, and he just chose to stay with the boxing thing as well. And, he didn't have to do that either. And the funny thing with his story is his dad was got instructional videos and basically helped him train and teach him to be a boxer, and then he ended up having a great amateur background and doing things like you did as an amateur and becoming a pro, and he actually ended up fighting Klitschko for the heavyweight title of the world.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy.
So, and unfortunately though, and hopefully I really hope this doesn't happen to you, but his career got kind of cut short due to an eye injury. So I don't know if you're aware of that, but that's basically why he had to retire.
Oh, okay. Now that puts a little bit of closure to the story. I mean, like I said, I knew a little bit about him. I didn't know how his career came to a short halt, but now I do. Thank you for that, John.
Yeah, he only has 2 losses, and one is actually to Klitschko for the title defense, and then his last fight was to Eddie Chambers when Eddie Chambers was 29-0, and he lost a split decision.
Oh wow! So he's had some pretty intense bouts.
Yeah, he was a good one, man. It's too bad it got cut short, but anyways, let's get back to you because you got a long career ahead of you, and I don't want to waste this time on Kelvin Brock because he's already had his time. But let's I don't know how you take criticism very well yet because I know you're still up and coming. You only got 13 fights. I don't know how you deal with the media. You're gonna have the good guys, and they're going to build you up, and then you're going to have the other guys that are going to tear you down. So I'm kind of curious on what you have to say to this. I saw some comments that they said that Dominic Breazeale is just another transplant from the other sports, just like Michael Grant, who didn't pan out, Jamil McCline, who really didn't pan out, Lance Whitaker, Seth Mitchell. So what do you feel about those doubters? Do you even pay any attention to that, or does that just give you motivation to prove them wrong?
I don't pay any mind at all. Of course, I want to prove those critics wrong. But for me, it's fuel that feeds the fire. Just being an athlete in general is one thing, but to be an athlete that transitions from basketball, football into a sport or even a lifestyle, I like to call it. Boxing is a lifestyle. You got to live boxing. You can't just get out there and play. It's not a team sport. It's not one of those things that you can take. You take a win and it's great, but if you take a loss, it's devastating. Another team sports, losses aren't so bad. And the lifestyle that I live with boxing, I'm not going to call it a sport. The lifestyle I live with boxing, it's all about winning. There's no doubt in your mind you want to have a loss. And if you have a loss in this career, that's devastating. So, I do pay a little bit of attention to those critics, but not as much as I should. But for me, I like to hear them say, hey, the kid doesn't use the jab enough, or the kid doesn't punch hard enough, or he doesn't go out of the body, because every time I get out there and fight, I want to show this critic, okay, he said, last fight I didn't perform as far as using my jab, or I didn't do the body shot. Well, this last fight I just had, the one right here in front of you right now, I'm going to show you everything that you told me I couldn't do. And that's how I go about it. I just correct the mistakes, and it makes me a well-rounded fighter in the end.
Okay. I'm curious, like I said, a lot of the fans, some of them are just learning who you are. You're still kind of up and coming. You're a prospect yet in the heavyweight division. Is there any superstitions or rituals or habits that you need to do before a fight?
Not really. I'm one of those guys that like to go with the flow. I know I like a light, gentle, type of a locker room. Like guys are usually laughing and joking and kind of just shooting the stuff in the back of the locker room. I go through the same routine. I wouldn't call it a ritual. I just do it out of habit. My trainer John Brady kind of got me into a nice little groove of things. It's kind of like hard 8 to 10 weeks of camping before a fight, and then, the last week or so just tapering down and going through the motions and making sure we're getting that nice little sweat in or whatnot. One thing that I have grown on, though, that, I kind of brought into boxing a little bit more than most fighters have, is I have a Team Brazil shirt that I have kind of my silhouette or my logo on the front of it, Here Comes Trouble, and I tend to change that every camp. We change the color scheme or we change the design a little bit, and, that's something that I've made my example or my print that I wear to the ring. It just brings me close to my fans. My fans are able to purchase it on the website, and they're able to come to the gym and take photos with me in it, and we sell it at the gym and things like that. And it gets me on a personal level with each and every one of my fans. Okay.
Now, is there any, because like you said before, you had never stepped into a gym before. You weren't really into boxing before when it got suggested to you. So is there anybody now that you look up to as a boxer that you like to try to emulate, or any videos that you watch of old fights to try to turn your style into, or do you just kind of do your own thing?
Yeah, I definitely got to give credit to guys like Rick Bowe. I watched a lot of film of Rick Bowe back in the day when he was in his heyday doing his thing. That's kind of the offensive game that I use. And then I've got to go back as far as Jack Johnson. I think he fought in the 40s and early 50s to his defensive style, picking and pairing and just using his jab real well. So if you had to put those two guys together, those are the type of films that I study to become the fighter I am today.
Okay, well, I want to get to your fight. You have a fight March 7th, 2015 this year against Victor Bisbal, and he's 21-2 with 15 knockouts. That's a pretty big step up for you.
Yeah, I've been asking Al and his team, to give me every challenge that they've got. I want to see every fighter, every shape, every size, every speed, every strength before I actually get there to, fight for a title or whatnot. And luckily enough, I've got a guy like Victor Bisbal, 2004 Puerto Rican Olympian, like you say, 21-2, 15 knockouts. So I know he's going to bring it. I know it's probably my biggest test to date. And I think I'm ready for it. There's no point in me getting in the gym 2-3 times a day. 8 to 10 weeks time for a camp if I'm not going to prepare for the best. And if I keep asking for the challenges, hopefully down the line they're going to keep coming. And this is the stepping stone that I have in front of me now today. And March 7th is going to be fireworks in the ring.
Yeah, and I mean, I was doing some research, and almost all his opponents have winning records that he's beaten. Right. So, I mean that is kind of impressive. Like I said, I think it's quite a step up for you. I'm really glad that you are taking a step up, and like you said, prove the critics wrong or whatever, and start taking these steps up, and you start knocking these guys out with records 21-2 and Olympians, and then the critics are going to go away.
Right, exactly. That's the point that we're taking the fight, and that's the reason why we're doing it. Of course, you're always gonna have critics all the way to the end, but I want to turn some of those critics into positive type of reviews here pretty soon, and show them that I'm not just another football player turned into a boxer. I want to let them know that I'm 100% boxer, and I'm living the lifestyle, and I'm fully committed to being the next heavyweight champion of the world. Okay, and I also want to make sure we promote exactly what the fight is on. It's actually on the inaugural series of NBC Premier Boxing Champions with Adrian Broner versus John Molina Jr. as the main event, and Keith Thurman versus Robert Guerrero as the other main event, and you're on the undercard. Yes, sir. It's going to be pack full night. You named the names there. March 7th is the MGM Grand Arena. Also going to be aired on NBC Sports. It's a great privilege of mine. It's definitely going to be an honor. The last time I fought on NBC Sports was when I was in the Olympics, almost 2 years ago now. So it's a huge step for me, and I'm looking forward to it for sure. March 7th. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this card as well, man. I'll be in front of my TV. I'll be watching those two fights as well as your fight. Just to keep watching your career going. I love watching these prospects, different weight divisions coming up, and I'm doing interviews with these guys and just following their career, and I'm going to definitely continue to follow your career as well. I came across a little tidbit that I just wanted to bring up. I understand that you love reggae music. Yeah, actually I do. I'm glad you brought that up. Some people asked me last time I fought at the Home Depot Center, they were asking what song I walked out to, and I said, it's literally, the song's called Here Comes Trouble by an artist out of Jamaica. It goes by Chronic. But it's just one of those things, it gets me in the groove. I train every single night from 7 to 10 p.m. and I put reggae music on, whether it's reggae pop or reggae rap or reggae smooth jazz. It's definitely, pumping as loud as possible in the gym. And it just keeps me calm and collected. It keeps my mind clear. It lets me know, that it's time for war. And I focus on my fundamentals and I stay key to the game plan. It's just one of those things that it's like it's almost that theory of putting that pony or the little horse in with the thoroughbred right before the gates are getting ready to shoot off. It just keeps me calm and collected.
Okay, now I want to get to some other U.S. heavyweights and see what you have to say if if you have any interest in fighting them anytime soon, or if you'd rather just fight some guys overseas, or I just want to throw some names out there. How about Amir Mansour?
Great fighter, man. A little undersized for the heavyweight division. I stand at 6'7". He's about 6 foot. I understand he packs some power, and definitely if he came knocking at the door and he wanted to fight, I'm going to take the fight, of course.
Okay. What about Malik Scott?
Malik Scott's a great guy, man. A while back, about a year ago or so, we used to spar at least once a week for a good 6-7 months there. Helped him get ready for some of his fights. He helped me get ready for some of my fights, man. It's one of those guys I learned a lot of things from. And at the same time, I'm never going to shy away from a fight. So if that fight comes up, I'm definitely going to welcome it.
Okay, and I'm also going to bring up another guy, and I just want the fans to understand why you and him probably won't meet in the ring, and if you do, it'll probably be for a belt, and it'll be a long ways down line. That's Gerald Washington, and the reason is because both of you guys are with Al Heyman, correct?
Correct. Yes, we do. We do share the same manager advisor tools in Al Heyman. Gerald Washington, actually another prospect that helped me out getting ready for the Olympics. We sparred a ton. We actually still spar now. We get each other ready for each other's fights or whatnot. But like I told others, if the belts are on the line or there's some kind of criticism that's on the line that's big enough to have us fight each other, I'm sure when that time comes, he just like I myself, we're going to take the fight on. In boxing, there can only be one champ. So friends are friends, all the way to the end. But as soon as we step into that square, me and him definitely going to be enemies. Okay,
and I want to bring up another name, and the way I understood it is you seem to be pretty respectful of all your peers. You don't seem to like a trash talker. So I didn't take this as trash talking. I just took this as basically you believe that this is what would happen. You said you have respect for Deontay Wilder, but you believe you could knock him out in less than 3 rounds, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Saying that, like you said, I'm not a big trash talker. I'm not one that's going to sit there and just talk at the mouth. I'm definitely going to back things up. When I say back things up, you're going to see my examples, my appearance, my performance in the ring, rather than me, talking blabber mouth in interviews or at the weigh-ins or whatever it's going to be. I'm just one of those guys that I believe in my athletic skill. I believe in my boxing skills. I believe in my conditioning level and strength and all that fun stuff. That after watching Deontay fight, especially against Bermain Severn, there's no way I think Deontay Wilder stands 3 rounds with me in a professional bout.
Okay, now I know you don't want to fight some of the heavyweight prospects over here that are coming up in the U.S. because I know how you guys are trying to come up. But I want to bring up one overseas, over in Australia. What do you think of Lucas Brown?
Well, I don't really know much of him. Other than the things I see on social media, I know he's doing some things. I know he just won maybe an international belt here pretty soon. Another big, strong type of a guy. But truthfully, I don't see anybody in the heavyweight division that can stand toe-to-toe and box with me, if not slug it out with me, fight me. And there's nobody that's going to get in the ring and give me any trouble at all.
Is that including Klitschko?
Definitely including Klitschko. I know the time is ticking, and I know he's at the end of his career, and I hope he's still there when I get my chance at the title. Ideally, I hope Deontay Wilder isn't scared and doesn't run from him and fights him, because Deontay Wilder versus Klitschko would be a great bout. But as soon after Deontay loses to Klitschko, I'll be creeping right up behind the door, hopefully fighting him next summer.
Okay, that'd be great. I'd personally like to see you fight Bryant Jennings, though.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'd like to fight any of those top 10 guys. I think I'll plan on being present at the Klitschko Brian Jennings fight here in April pretty soon. Just so I can see the stature of Brian Jennings in person. I can see Klitschko fight, a smaller type guy, but I think that's what Klitschko needs. He needs somebody that's going to stand across the ring, eye to eye, same weight, same reach, same everything, and literally just square off and fight 10, 12 hard rounds.
Okay, that's great to hear, man. I love to hear the fact that you're willing to fight any of these guys, and that you're hoping that he's going to be around. Like I said, I'm going to pay attention to your career, and I hope that you do get the shot against Deontay Wilder, and we do get to see how many rounds he really lasts against you.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right. On another note, obviously the big mega fight's been signed. Everybody's talking about it. Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. So, just to hear on your point, because you're a peer of theirs, who do you pick?
That's a hard one for me. Being a boxing fan, being a guy that watches boxing and understands it, being around boxing now for 6-7 years, I understand that Floyd just got his game down. Floyd Money Mayweather has done some things in the ring that I haven't seen anybody else do. So I respect him for that. His defensive skills are great. He knows how to outpunch his other opponent, and he knows when to work. He might take a round off, or he might be defensive for a round, and then he comes in and he's offensive for another round. So I think when he gets in the ring with Manny Pacquiao, he's definitely going to take him into deep water. He's gonna win round after round, and I got Mayweather winning the fight in a decision. Okay,
sounds good. Well, listen, on that, we're going to end the interview. I just want to remind everybody one more time, March 7th, 2015, he will be facing Victor Bisbal, 21-2, his toughest opponent yet. So if you want to see Dominic Breazeale in a fight, this could possibly be one, or he could impress you and knock this guy out in a round or two, and then definitely you're going to want to continue to follow his career and see where he goes and possibly win a world title. Also, on that card, like I said, two main events, Adrian Bronner and John Molina Jr., and then Keith Thurman versus Robert Guerrero. So, this is going to be a great night of boxing. NBC Premier Boxing Championships inaugural season. Start out watching this one and continue to watch the rest of the season all year. If you're just becoming a boxing fan, you're about to see a great year of boxing. I know CBS is going to have some great boxing this year. ESPN's got some great boxing. HBO and Showtime's lining up some great fights. So definitely follow Dominic Breazeale's career, the rest of the prospects that are coming up in the different weight divisions. And it's going to be a great year, 2015 of boxing now. Don't you think?
Oh, yeah, I'm glad to be a part of it. 2015 is going to be an amazing year for boxing. It's going to be the resurrection of the heavyweight division for sure. And, stay tuned. Here comes trouble.
All right, and with that, the truth has spoken.